Hey guys, if you ever wondered what a small nursery might look like, especially one in your own backyard, I want to show you mine. I'm going to show you all of it. So let's have a look. This is the very beginning of my nursery right here in my backyard. So let's just walk in and let's see what the first thing we see is. And I'm just going to kind of show you around out here and show you what we do and how we use our space. The first thing that I see right here on my right, your left, is these crazy looking dappled willows. Now these are the dappled willow cuttings, the same ones that we offered for sale last year at the beginning of December or whenever it was, and I have not pruned these at all. I just stuck the sticks in the ground last winter and they have grown to this point. And by the way, if you guys bought these cuttings from us last year, I would love it if you'd take a picture of them and email them to me. My email is in the About section of my YouTube channel. Email me a picture of them. I want to see how they're doing, and I'll share those on the channel if you would send me pictures of yours and show us how they're growing. Next thing I want to show you, this is one of my shade covers, and listen, this is super easy to build. Just literally nailing some lumber together just enough to get your shade cloth hung up. But it's been a terribly hot summer this year. I know it has been for many people across the United States, and this has been a lifesaver for many of our plants. Up under here, there's a bunch of coral bells under there. There are some oak leaf hydrangeas under here. These are silver dollar hydrangeas here. There are some blackberries growing and propagating over there. And there's probably 400 plants under here altogether, maybe 350 under here altogether. But this is just one of the things that we have done in our nursery this year to kind of help us to get by and adapt, as it's been a lot hotter than normal this summer. So I can't see how you can have a nursery in it if you live in a really warm climate without having some shade, whether you use the shade from a tree, shade from a deck, shade from a shade cover, whatever it is. But this is kind of how we have used ours, and this is probably 10 feet wide by 20 feet long or something like that. Now, one of the things, if you see right here, this is kind of a pile of pots, and you know, one of the things I've yet to really figure out is how to corral my pots into one place where they're organized and they're together, but they wind up just getting laid on the ground. So you may see a pile of pots here. There happens to be another pile of pots laying over here, little small 3.5-inch pots, but it seems like I've always got pots laying somewhere, and at least in my nursery, that's just how it is. The next thing I want to show you is my emerald green Arbor Vitas, and I've got a lot of these for next year, and I have them scattered out in different places. This is, I don't know, a few hundred emerald green Arbor Vitas here, and these are, again, are in small 3.5-inch pots. These will be nice size by mid-spring to early summer next year, and so I got a pretty good pile of them right here. As you can see, I have a few more over here behind this tree. I have another patch of them over here. There are some in the shade house, and there are more under that shade covering over there, and even more back there. I think there's around 1,500 or 1,800 of those altogether. Lots and lots of emerald green Arbor Vitas. Guys, I love screening trees. You got to have green giants. You got to have emerald greens or some kind of cypress or some kind of screening tree. Whatever thrives in your area, you got to have them in your nursery. And guys, y'all know that I could not give you a tour of my nursery without talking about my green giant some. And these are some of the ones that we have for next year, growing right here in this bed in front of me and all the way down that way. I really don't know exactly how many there are here, but all of these will dig up over the winter. Once they go dormant, we'll start digging these, and a lot of them we'll use to make more cuttings of from next year, and we'll just look at them and go through them and see which ones really look nice, and the nice ones that are a nice size that fit well in our trade gallon size pots, we'll put those up for sale next year, and then the rest of them we'll shred them up and make more and more and more green giants out of them. So I have a bed here. There's maybe 50 or 80 or something here in a bed behind me, and just quite a few of them here. One of my favorite plants, a can't go wrong plant, along with the emerald greens in your nursery. Great, great, great plants, and they take up a lot of my time and energy in my nursery. Green giants. And this is our thing that we affectionately call a shade house. This is not a greenhouse. I don't have a greenhouse. This is just some lumber that I put up, nailed together, and laid a big shade cloth over it and fastened it down. Y'all come in here and check out inside the shade house. I'm going to just show you in here real quick so you can see how we use this space. All this is just a cover. The hot afternoon sun comes in this way, so we have this end of it covered in shade as well. And then when you step in here, this is about 6.5 or 7 feet tall, and it's just a shade cloth covering the whole thing. And we've got emerald greens in here, blackberries in here, astilbes and hostas in here. Lots of shade plants really thrive in here. There are some oak leaf hydrangeas over here. Lots and lots of hostas scattered around in here. And some of our trays that we've pulled out of the mist, out of propagation this year, are also in here, where they will be growing out to be potted next spring and next summer, just to kind of keep the cycle going. So your shade plants like hostas really thrive in an environment like this. I mean, look at these. These are Halcyon Hostas. They're a blue, they're known as a blue hosta, and they're absolutely gorgeous. I mean, look at these little bitty plants. These things will be spectacular next spring, and I think there's, I don't know, a couple hundred of them here. So really, really good thing that we have here in our shade, and just seems like for us at least that we couldn't get by without having shade like this. So let's go out of the shade house and step right back over here to the other side. And look, as you guys can see, this is a pretty small space altogether out here. We work in around 15, maybe 1,800 square feet altogether, but you can see over here I've got more hostas. And look, guys, sometimes when you have really hot weather, some of your hostas just burn up. And while these are certainly not dead, they are really looking forward to going dormant. Next spring when they come out, they'll be really nice. But I mean, some of these have just burned up. But it's interesting to see, like, this variety of hosta here, just for example, oh, it's rooted to the ground. This is a Francis William. That's the variety name of this hosta. Oh, there's always weeds. Good grief, I hate weeds. I hate these weeds. This particular variety, you know, the edges are burned up, but here in recent days we have fresh growth coming out. But some of the other varieties back here behind these, like, they're not sunburned at all. So some varieties just thrive even in the heat of summer, and of hostas will even thrive in the heat of summer, and some of them just don't. And you kind of learn by trial and error which ones will and which ones won't. But this is another batch of hostas that I have ready for next year. They overwinter really well, so no worries on these being really nice plants for next spring. As we continue back this way, another little patch here of emerald green arbor vitas that you can see behind the redbud tree right here. These are Limelight Hydrangeas here, probably, I don't know, 80 or 100 of those that will be really nice next year. We propagated these last season, their first season off of patent. So propagated last season, grow out this season, sell them next season. So that's about a 24-month process beginning to end on those. But they look really, really, really good. And just kind of show you one of these up close. Man, look at that beautiful little plant. Now that's a small plant in probably a 2-quart, 1.5 or 2-quart pot, but that's going to be a great, great looking plant next year. If we continue over this way just a little bit, these gigantic crepe myrtles, oh, I love crepe myrtles. They sell really well. They're easy to propagate, but they will root into the ground on you very quickly through the bottom of their pots, which is exactly why all these right here are so big. There's only about 4 or 5 of them here, but they've rooted into the ground. That's these Natchez crepe myrtles that bloom white, and also these ebony flame crepe myrtles over here, these dark colored crepe myrtles. They've all rooted into the ground, so I'll cut them loose from the ground this winter once they've gone dormant and repot them, and they'll be fine next year. But you got to be careful with some of your plants, because they sure will root into the ground, even through this black fabric that I put these on, this woven ground cloth. They'll go right through it into the ground. But anyway, it kind of makes an interesting looking thing out here when you see all these little potted plants, and there's these plants that are, what, 7 or 8 feet tall. They look kind of crazy. But moving back out that way, there's a little, those nearest to the camera there, those are blue mist spireas. We've kind of been hit and miss on those. They're super easy to propagate. They're beautiful when they're beautiful. These are just looking kind of, man, so-so this year at best. And I'm sure as big as those are stuck to the ground too. But anyway, really nice plants. I don't know if we'll be keeping those in the future and doing more of those in the future. But again, blue mist spirea, we've had okay success with them. Keep going this way, you can see them in bloom there. There's some silver dollar hydrangeas, Francie Hostas. Now these guys have withstood blistering heat this summer. They're getting not full sun, but almost full sun, and surprisingly to me, they've held up fairly well. So Congratulations to the Francie Hostas. I mean, that's one of the standard hostas of the world. You can find them anywhere. They're a great plant. You can buy them wholesale for cheap. I just can't say enough good things about them. They look terrible now, of course, late summer, but they'll be beautiful next spring. We move down this way a little bit further. These are the very last of my silver dollar hydrangeas this year, and we have kind of slowly but finally sold all of these big hydrangeas. I need to save a few of them anyway for next year, but then, I don't know, 50 green giants or so that are still left here behind me. I'm just going to save them for next year. Not even going to try to sell them this year, but that kind of finishes it for this section. Let's go over to the far backside and the last couple of pieces of shaded area, and let's have a look at those. Back here in the back, and you can see under here, these are guacamole hostas back here in the back, and these are blue mouse ear hostas right here in the front, and I have one of these guacamoles in my hand, and look at that. I mean, that's only in a 4.5-inch pot. We're going to pot that up into a trade gallon next year. That thing is going to be amazing, and there's a couple of hundred of them back there. First time I've had these guacamoles, and they are amazing. So I couldn't be happier with them. This shade cloth has really, of course, helped them to thrive this summer in the heat. Blackberries here, some are propagating, some are just growing out of control out of their pots here behind me, but blackberries, triple crown blackberries, really a can't miss plant in your nursery. People are always looking for edibles, so they're one of those things that I couldn't really find a great home for, so I just set them somewhere. So there they sit, and there they grow. So if you kind of swing around that way, you can see the oak leaf hydrangeas over there, more emerald green arbor vitas over there, and I wound up just leaving them under there all spring and all summer, but under the little white tunnel over there are the green giant cuttings, and they have thrived, and they have done incredible, and those will be ready to go into pots to grow out next spring and into next summer. So then over here, this is kind of the last section of the nursery. There's more crepe myrtles here, a few more that are rooted to the ground, of course. Hydrangeas over there. We got Rheingold arbor vitas, which is a golden kind of globe-shaped shrub that grows to maybe 3 feet round, something like that. And it's beautiful. I don't know, 60 or 80 Annabelle hydrangeas growing over there. We propagate all those. These giant Victory hostas over here. Victory hosta is the largest variegated hosta there is, and we're glad to grow those, and they're really an awesome plant. And then more emerald green arbor vitas right down here in this area. A couple of trays right down there of crepe myrtles. Those are catawba or cahaba, whatever they are. I've got them labeled. Crepe myrtles that we've propagated this year. They're starting to leaf out nicely. And the very last thing there, around to the right, is the area where we missed our plants. And we still have plants under mist even this late in the growing season, just trying to get as many rooted as we can before we run out of season here in, the next 6 weeks to 8 weeks, something like that. But anyway, lots of stuff going on back here in the back nursery. Now let me show you one more thing. All right, and to wrap this up, Chloe has come in the video here and joined me, and we're standing in front of her spireas, and she showed y'all those on another video. But we have a huge, huge announcement. Chloe, what would you like for all of these people watching? What would you like for them to know?
I started a channel.
That's right. So she started her own YouTube channel. What is it called?
Savvy Daughter.
Savvy Daughter. Okay, there's going to be a link to Savvy Daughter's YouTube channel in the description below. And what is your channel going to be about?
It's about what I'm doing and experiencing as I learn and grow every day, pretty much.
Okay, so it's like, is it about plants?
It is. It has some plant stuff and a bunch of other stuff that we're just doing.
But it's not a plant channel.
No, but there is some plant stuff in it.
Okay, so you started doing plant stuff and like things that Chloe likes to do.
Yes.
All right, so guys, we want y'all to go check out her channel, subscribe to it, like it, leave her a comment if you wish. And besides that, we are thrilled that y'all joined us today. It is a privilege for us to have y'all viewing our YouTube channel. We have a great time making these videos out here in our backyard every week, but just wanted to tell y'all thanks and tell y'all about her channel. I love y'all, and we'll see y'all on the next one.